Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Confronting Evil. Tonight, the sibling duo get back behind the wheel of the Torino and search for more than just answers. And where the road will lead them could be off the map or onto the radar of something sinister. So please sit back, get comfortable, and allow me to welcome you back to Confronting Evil.
Hey, have you had any luck translating any more of the book?
Seth asked, holding his cell phone up to his ear. He sat in the passenger seat as Mackenzie drove.
Nah, I ain't translated a damn thing. Can't figure out my ass from a hole in the ground on this. There's a bunch of pages missing, and that ain't no help when you're reading a dead language.
Huck replied with his usual spunk from the other end of the line.
What about all that stuff we found at that old shack?
Mackenzie asked, glancing over at her brother.
Was there anything useful in the stuff we brought in from North Dakota?
Seth asked, putting their uncle on speakerphone.
Yeah, actually, I found something in the lot of crap you dropped on my office desk.
Huck replied.
Your desk is your kitchen table and your camper, Huck. Did you find anything important?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. I was getting to it, you bufflehead. There were some pages from the book and all that crap.
Wait, there were pages from the book and all that stuff?
Yeah, nothing that helps me figure anything out. But yeah, there were 3 of them and all that.
That's a weird coincidence.
Mackenzie said, an odd look coming across her face.
That's no coincidence. I think whatever it was that you stumbled across has probably been watching you for a while.
Why would it be watching us?
I don't know, but I think we have more important things to worry about right now.
Huck replied, the tone in his voice changing.
What? What's wrong?
You guys are gonna have to get over here,
Huck said, as he stood there, slack-jawed, staring out the window. Huck had set his camper up on the edge of a little town called Elmridge, Minnesota. The place was beautiful, though it was now the home to something that even caused Huck to become speechless. Mackenzie floored it upon hearing Huck's request to return to their mobile home base. She jacked the wheel and hit the brake to spin the Torino around on the road where the tires spun out before they tore ass down the highway. They arrived at the camper a few minutes later and found the door torn off its hinges and discarded alongside the mobile home.
Oh shit! Huck!
Mackenzie yelled as she jumped out of the car and ran inside, Seth following shortly thereafter. Inside, they found sure signs of a struggle. Kitchen knives were scattered about the camper. The drawer that they had come from now lay overturned on the couch. There were huge scratch marks along the interior and exterior walls, and there was a trail of blood that led outside.
You don't think that's...
Seth said, pointing to the trail of blood.
No way. No way. See the knives everywhere? Huck probably sliced whatever it was that took him.
But if he injured it, then it's probably not too happy with him.
Which is why we need to find him ASAP.
Look around. See if we can figure anything out.
Whatever this thing was, it was huge,
Mackenzie said, pointing at the massive claw marks along the walls.
Yeah, it was. And I think I might know what it could have been,
Seth said with concern, looking down at a book that lay open on the table.
You gonna share with the class?
Mackenzie asked, noticing her brother's hesitation. Seth looked down at the picture drawn upon the page and the words written around it. The image showed a demonic-looking creature. It looked similar to a centaur, but with drastic differences. It appeared as a man riding on the back of a horse, but the man had no legs, and upon closer inspection, the human torso was also found to be growing out of the horse's back. The man's arms outstretched unnaturally long, down to the ground, where its knuckles dragged by the horse's hooves. The man's head had also grown to the extreme. A bulbous, misshapen mass that resembled a head appeared to be almost equal to the size of the torso of the man. The horse part, likewise, had an abnormally large head with a large, gaping mouth, like that of a whale, with a single red glowing eye in the equine forehead. Another very notable characteristic of the beast was that it was completely lacking any kind of skin, only bloody muscle, bone, and sinew.
The Nuka-Levi is an Arcadian sea demon that...
Seth began.
Orcadian? What's that?
The Orkney Islands. They're, a bunch of islands in northern Scotland. They have a lot of Norse beliefs and heritage there. Anyway, it is a sea demon that...
Seth began, but was again interrupted.
A sea demon? Don't you think he's, a little lost?
I have no idea why a sea demon is in Minnesota, but maybe if you let me read more of this, we can find something out,
Seth said with a smile, but he was beginning to get annoyed.
You think it came over here with the Vikings?
Mackenzie asked, before a pause, and then let out the punchline.
'Cause Minnesota.
She joked. Seth simply let out a sigh at his sister's dumb joke before finally reading the rest of what was written.
The Nuka-Levi is a sea demon that is believed to be kept prisoner during the summer months, deep beneath the waves. It is said to cause rot and decay wherever it goes. Plants wilt and die when they come into contact with the fumes from its mouth. It brings death and destruction, and it is among the most feared demons of Orcadian legend.
Seth began.
Oh, here's something. It hates the smell of burning seaweed, and this will cause it to become enraged. It is a sea spirit, and thus has an aversion to fresh water. It cannot cross rivers or streams, or come into contact with any fresh water. The only one that can control it is the one that holds it captive beneath the waves. The Mither of the Sea, an Orcadian sea spirit.
Seth said.
Well, where is she? And why is this thing in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota?
I don't know, Kens.
Great. That's wonderful. So, where do we find this thing?
Follow the trail of death and decay, I guess.
The two of them hopped in the Torino and then took off in search of any signs of the monster's presence.
So, when we find this thing, how do we kill it?
Mackenzie asked.
I don't think we can, Kens.
Seth said, unsure of what to do.
Come on. There's gotta be something. Think, Seth.
Well, the book said that the Nuka-Levi has an aversion to fresh water.
So, like what? Fill up squirt guns and cross the streams on this thing?
Mackenzie joked, which got a strange look from Seth, who then told her where the nearest supermarket was. Minutes later, they were exiting the store with various colored plastic squirt guns, where they then stopped by the nearest gas station bathroom to fill them up with water.
Let's go Wicked Witch on this thing,
Mackenzie said, pumping her pink squirt gun like a shotgun and accidentally spraying water all over the bathroom mirror. The two of them once again took off in search of the demon that had taken their uncle. They were both scared, but neither showed it. Yet they both still had great faith that Huck would be able to handle himself, even against a demonic force such as this. It wasn't too long before the duo started noticing small patches of browned and wilted corn stalks along the edges of the cornfield. Seth pointed it out as a possible sign of the Nuka-Levi being nearby. As the two of them got closer to town, the crops became more and more dead and decayed, dried up and wilted to the ground. Then, the trail of rotten corn veered off to the right and followed a dirt road, where it stopped at an old farmhouse. Mackenzie put on the brakes before then putting the Torino into reverse to back up so that they could turn down the dirt trail to get to the farmhouse. The two of them pulled up to the large house, with pillars lining the huge deck and reinforcing the second floor of the house. It was painted white, but that was a long time ago, and the paint had chipped off in many places, revealing the brown wood beneath the paint, which showed signs of wood rot from the years of weather exposure. Mackenzie stuck her squirt gun into her belt and knocked on the door. Seth followed her up the stairs, and between the two massive pillars. A man in his 40s answered the door. He stood there in a white muscle shirt with visible sweat stains on it. He had a green hat with a tractor on it, sitting over his long, light brown hair. His eyes were hazel from what could be seen of them, considering that one of them was partially hidden behind a very dark black eye.
Hi, I'm Josephine, and this is Steven. We're with King's Natural Gas. We're looking for reported gas leaks in the area. I see that some of your corn is wilted. Now, that's a sure sign that there could be a gas leak on your property, and...
Mackenzie began.
That ain't no gas leak. I just didn't water them as well as I shoulda is all.
The man said, with a very slight accent of the area.
A gas leak of this scale could be dangerous, sir. Do you mind if we look around, please?
Seth added in.
No. Get off my land, please.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, sir.
Seth said, before the two of them turned and walked back toward the Torino, parked behind the man's pickup truck. The man closed the door behind them and watched them as they got into their car and disappeared behind the corn. From his point of view, the man could not see that Seth did not enter the car. Instead, he hid behind the man's pickup truck and made his way around the exterior of the house to examine the back door, which he found to be unlocked. Seth stealthily slipped inside the house. It was an old building, and from the looks of it, Seth could tell that the owner had not at all kept up on the maintenance of the place. Wallpaper peeled off the walls, holes in the walls and floors, stains on the ceiling. The place was a wreck. As Seth approached the side room, he was hit with a horrendous smell. It was nearly vomit-inducing and could only be explained as having the aroma of human excrement mixed with vomit and rotting food on a hot day. It was thick and disgusting, and it just hung in the air. It took everything Seth had to not gag and throw up onto the floor, but he somehow managed to crack the door open and have a peek inside. In the room, he could see the man that had answered the door earlier, but now he wore a dark red robe. His arms were raised into the air, and in his hands he held some kind of stone with symbols carved into it in a circle around its center. Seth looked down to find a table at the man's side, and upon the table there looked to be an old piece of parchment, perhaps torn from a book. Then, from there, Seth's eyes moved around the room to find a bloody huckleberry chained to the wall without any room to properly stand. He looked weak and his eyes were barely open, but it was enough to see Seth at the door. Seth dialed his phone to send the message to Mackenzie to come in and help, but he was stopped when the door suddenly swung open, causing him nearly to fall face first into the bloody leg of the beast. The thing towered over him, a massive head of misshapen muscle swung side to side, its mouth hanging open and drooling upon its own body beneath it, and its eyes stared off into space as if there was no activity going on upstairs. This head connected to a humanoid torso, where the ribcage could be seen clinging to the muscle and sinew of its human portion. The thing's red, bloody arms hung several feet down to the ground, where its clawed and mud-covered fingers dragged along the floor. The thing's waist then connected to a horse's body. The horse, too, was completely skinned to the muscle, blood, and bone beneath, and through the thing's entire body. There were veins and arteries that were filled with a dark, almost oil-like blood. The horse's hooved feet appeared to have some kind of membranous, fin-like structures coming off of them, allowing it to swiftly swim when in water. The body of the horse then ended at a long, oddly shaped head, appearing as more of the shape of a whale's head than that of a horse. Its mouth hung agape, where its baleen-esque teeth could be seen, and that was not all. The smell that emanated from the horse's mouth was so thick and nauseating that it could physically be seen to the naked eye. A greenish, yellow mist hung around its mouth, and above its snarling lips was a single, red, glowing eye that covered a large portion of the monster's whalish, horse-like head. The beast retracted its long arm from the door where Seth stood, leaving him completely dumbfounded. The thing's arm then once again shot out as if it were on a spring and then gripped Seth about his chest, throwing him next to his Uncle Huck.
What the hell, you damn glumpus?
Huck said in disgust.
Sorry, Huck.
Seth said, shrugging his shoulders.
King's natural gas my ass.
The guy said.
Why are you really here? You know this guy is something?
No, I just...
Don't lie to me.
He's my uncle.
Well, I'll be. We got ourselves a couple of regular monster hunters here.
The man said with a smile.
Why are you doing this? And what in the gee-golly fuck is that thing doing in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota?
Scaring away people from this land so that I can buy it up for cheap.
That sounds like something out of a Saturday morning cartoon, I gotta say.
Yeah, I gotta admit it's not the cleanest way of getting things done. But after I went on vacation and found this thing washed up on the beach, I couldn't help but use it to get what I wanted. And I want to own Elm Ridge. It's not the best of places, but it's mine. Or at least, it will be.
He spoke, holding up a stone that was about the size of the palm of his hand, completely black and smooth, and in it there were carved symbols that appeared to be runic in nature, that encircled the center of the nearly spherical stone.
Jinkies.
I think it's about time I shut you up. You two will make a great sacrifice to allow me to continue to control it.
The man said with a grumble in his voice. The Nukalavi then reached out with its two stretchy arms and grabbed hold of Seth, lifting him off the ground and leaving him unable to reach for his weapon. Suddenly, a loud shattering of glass could be heard as Mackenzie burst through the window with two large squirt guns in hand, where she let loose with a massive rainfall of water that sprayed the large beast. The Nukalavi howled out in pain as its flesh sizzled like bacon over a fire. The thing dropped Seth and attempted to flee, but was stopped by Seth, who was now finally able to grab his squirt gun. He sprayed the fiend with everything that he had and halted it in its tracks. The monster screeched and howled as its muscles tore and gave way to bone. Black and red blood spraying out of it as the water sprayed in, and when the guns were finally spent of their ammunition, the creature was nothing more than a pile of bones and steamy gore.
Holy crap. I can't believe that worked.
Mackenzie said in awe.
Yeah, me either.
Seth said, completely surprised.
Now, maybe I'm delirious from the pain, but did you two dinguses just kill an Orchidean demon with children's toys?
Huck asked.
Yep, with water from a gas station bathroom.
Mackenzie said proudly.
Where do you think you're going?
Seth said, as he stopped the man who summoned the beast from fleeing.
I wasn't doing nothing, I swear. I was just, I'm sorry for what I did. I didn't mean to hurt nobody. I'd seen the error of my ways. I promise, I've changed. Just the straight and narrow for me from now on. Scout's honor,
the man said, gesturing with his hands.
So you weren't going to sacrifice us to keep control over the wicked witch over there?
Seth said, pointing to the disgusting pile of blood, guts, and bone upon the floor. The man responded, not knowing what to do.
What should we do with him?
Mackenzie asked, as she freed Huck from his shackles.
You think Jessie knows anyone around here?
Yep, probably. I'll give her a call.
Huck replied as he rubbed his sore wrists.
I have one question first, though. Where did you get this?
Seth asked, holding up the page that the man had dropped.
I don't know, some weird guy dropped it.
Weird. Like how?
I don't know, like one of his eyes was bloodshot or something. It was all red. All of it.
The guy blurted out. Mackenzie and Seth simply looked at each other, knowing exactly what it was that was wearing a new man's skin. Suddenly, the man keeled over in pain, gripping his chest, before he threw himself backward onto the floor. He ripped open his shirt, and beneath his skin there was movement, as if something slithered under his dermis. The man's elbows then thrust backward against the floor at his sides, lifting him up off the ground and arching his back, where his skin began to stretch and split as whatever was inside of him pushed its way out of his body. It was a strange, slug-like creature that dug its way out of him. It had dozens of large, curling mandibles that allowed it to dig and eat its way out of the man, along with rows of shark-like teeth that curled back into its body. A body that looked more like an amoeba than anything else. The nucleus could even be seen inside, along with the mitochondria and other such normally microscopic things floating within a creature's cytoplasm inside its gelatinous body. The three of them just stood there in shock and watched as the thing scurried off into the bathroom and forced its way down the drain of the sink.
Did that guy just... Did that just happen?
Mackenzie asked in shock and awe.
Did that guy just go Ridley Scott on us?
Yeah. What the hell was that?
Seth asked, also completely dumbfounded.
Better question is, where the hell did it go? Or better yet, what in the blazing blue bumblefuck was that thing?
Well, whatever it was, it's gone now, and we should probably get out of here too,
Mackenzie said, motioning toward the man with his stomach ripped open on the floor. The three of them left town, not knowing exactly where fate would lead them next, but they knew that something was coming. Something very wrong. Well, things certainly took a side street, but you know what they say, all roads lead to terror. But will they discover the truth in time? And where will the road lead them next? Well, you won't have to wait too long for the next installment, premiering in 3 weeks when Confronting Evil returns. Social media can be very unpredictable, especially regarding horror content. If this content gets removed, all new content will be simultaneously presented on various websites provided in the description to this video. Make sure to follow me in other digital spaces so that you never miss out on the terror. Also, if you like this video, make sure to leave a comment and hit the like button. It helps the channel a lot. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy what's here, consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you never miss an upload. Writing is a dream of mine, and it's all of you that make that dream come true.